All right, welcome. This is a week 4, and we got a new build for you. It's pretty straightforward. It follows along right where we left off. We're going to use a new part though. So let's see if we can find it in our kits. And I'll hold it up here in front of the camera a little bit so you can see it. Back and put something behind it so it can focus a little better. There it is. This is called an RGB LED. So these are similar to what we've used before. These LEDs, hold one of those up, except the new part, the RGB LED, which stands for the RGB part. We're talking about red, green, blue. We got an LED that we can get multiple colors out of, so that's kind of cool. This one we're stuck with one color. This one we can get lots of colors out of. So let's see how we do that. I'm going to switch to this other view, and just so we make sure you got the right part, this is what it looks like. Maybe I didn't need to do this, but take a look at that. That's what the part looks like. I don't know if there's one in your kit or two of them. You're also going to need let's go back to this. You're also going to need a resistor, 3 of them, around the 220 or 330 ohm range, and you should have, here's my set of 330 still. I pulled a few off, but I've got quite a few left. So we're going to need 3 of these. So it's kind of like having this RGB, which is right over here, is kind of like having 3 LEDs in one. And each of these wires, we got the red light is going to be illuminated through this wire. The next one over is going to be the ground, and the next one is the blue and the green. So this is probably the hardest part with this thing. If you hold up, see if I can do this again. I'm going to switch back to the other one. This is kind of important. If you look at let's try this again. If you look at the wires, we've got different lengths. One is really long, the second one over is really long, and the other 3 are just slightly shorter. It's that long one in the middle there, that is the ground wire. So that's the one that we use as a frame of reference. Now, let me go back over here. So as I'm building on this, they don't show the different sizes like they did with the LED. This side was the anode, this was the cathode, the negative, and this is the positive side. Here you can't really tell, but visually when you look at this, you can see that one is longer than the other. And the one to the left of that, the one wire, so you have one longer one, and you have 2 on one side that are shorter, and 1 on the other side that's shorter. So the one's kind of by itself is the red, and the other 2 are the other 2 colors, the blue and the green. So let's wire this up, and let me remove this old work from, actually I'll keep that. Let's pull this one over, put that in, let's go like that. Okay, this time around we're going to be illuminating this RGB LED using digital light again. We're just going to be turning it on and off. So nothing really fancy. We just want to have a single part that can give us lots of different colors. And there's actually more colors than just the red, green, blue that we can get. We're going to start with just those 3. So each build, we're going to have let me get rid of this wire, kind of start fresh a little bit. So that 3rd one over, depending on what frame of reference you got, 3rd one from this side or 2nd one from this side, that long wire, that one is going to go to the ground, which is G and D here, or one of those on this side. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger too, so you can see it a little better. There we go. So this is the long one. This one we're going to make a wire, we're going to send it the crossover, which I don't like doing, but it's going to go into the ground. Okay, it's just heading over. It has nothing to do with this resistor, which is off by itself, it's going to 13. And we're going to send another one through 12. So let's go ahead and do that. So you can think of this as 3 separate circuits, one for each of the colors, and all of them terminate into this ground wire which heads back by itself. So it's a little bit easier. Instead of building 3 separate circuits, it's slightly easier. So I'm going to grab another resistor, put that one there. You'll notice the colors change on the band. I don't think I did it with this one. Actually I did. What I didn't do is I didn't set this to ohms, not kilo ohms, so if you actually can see the bands on those resistors. If not, you can use that multimeter. I showed you how to use that. Alright, here's the other one. So, alright, so those are my 3 resistors, one to each of the different colors, the red and the green and the blue, and then the cathode's all by itself going to ground. So each one of these, we're going to send that one to 12, and this one off to 11. Alright, I got to remember that 13 is heading to the red, and 12 is heading to the blue, and 11 is heading to the green. They'll all go through the RGB LED, and they'll all come back out following my circuit path here, always ending at ground. Alright, so put that together. I've actually already completed that, and I'll show that to you. Lift mine up a little bit. And I'm going to try something here. I have a camera only view. Yeah, that might be a little better. So I'll hold this up. You get a peek at what mine looks like. See my fingers. Yeah. You can see my paths. I can't point things out very well while I'm holding this up. Okay, so there's mine. And it's just the exact same build here. The only thing different, now that I just looked at it, is I actually, just from habit, I actually took this wire. If you're looking for something that's slightly different, I took this wire from here and went to here. I love how that whole thing lights up. Not yet, you know, I'm backing you. I have no idea what I'm talking about. So let's go back here. Sorry. I can see it. Why can't you see it? There you go. So what I meant to show you is I had this wire all the way to ground, which is fine, but in the build that I just showed you in my hand, I like to go to this negative row right here and then grab this one and go from here over to there. So by using that row, this whole row becomes access to ground. Even though I'm only accessing it once, it's kind of redundant because I have to use 2 wires instead of 1, but that's just a habit, a good habit. Alright, so build that, and then we're going to go take a look at the code. What's the objective? We're just going to have this RGB LED. We're going to have each of the different colors come on. We'll do red first, and then we'll have green go on, then we'll have blue go on. We'll just have them each go on for like a second or so. Okay, and then in class we'll probably show you that there are lots of different colors we can actually make instead of just these 3 primary colors. So let's go on to writing some code. I'm going to use this version of IDE, and I'm not plugged in, so I'm not going to worry about any of this stuff up here. I'm going to, we learned this in class as well, we're going to set up some variables, and we're going to use one variable for the delay time. We're going to use one variable for the, let's set each color will have a separate pin, so let's set each pin, give it its own variable. So let's start with that. We're going to make integers out of this because we're using whole numbers. We're not using fractions or anything like that, so int is going to be a good data type for us. And we're going to make this simple. Red, I'm just making that up. I can call anything I want. We're going to call that pin 13. And we also showed you how to do comments. I'm not going to do a lot of comments, but pin 13 is red or something like that, if you really needed to remind yourself what it was you're trying to do. Just doing that as sort of a class reminder. Middle one was green, and that is 12. Hopefully you can see this really well. What if I should make this a little bigger? Let me try and make it slightly bigger. All right, that looks pretty good. And another integer data type. We're letting the computer know what type of variable green is. It's basically what we're saying. We're saying green is an integer, and what integer? It's integer 12. And blue is going to be, and why is it 12? Because that's pin 12 we're going to be using. Did I use those pins? Let me double check. I used 9, 10, 11. So mine, if I chose those pins, mine will not work. Just looking at that side is the red one, and I have red as 11. So I want mine to work. So I'm going to use 11, 10, 9, if that's okay. Or nah, let me just shift my wires over a little bit. These tiny little wires, I can see them a little better. We said 13 and 12 and 10, right? We haven't said 10 yet, but we're going to do 10 right here. 13, wow, what happened to 11? Did I skip 11? I did not. So let's go back and do 13, 12, 11. I'm just a little curious to see if that matched our design earlier. We did 13, 12, 11, so that does match. Let's try to be consistent with what I have here. So that's probably what you built. Oh, sorry. All right, 13, 12, 11, that's what I have. All right, now good practice is going to be using pin mode again. And we're going to use our variables. We're going to use red. And we're going to output some voltage through that pin 13. And we're going to do pin mode green. Whoop. And this is all caps here. And one more. They're using 3 pins today. That's the first. This is my voice a little bit today. I don't know why. Not sick or anything. Just Monday dry voice, I guess. All right, that looks pretty good. So I've used the variables that I've defined up here, and now we're going to go and turn these on one at a time. So let's do that. Digital write red. Let's make this one go on first. How long do we want to go on for? Oh, I should have done one for delay. Didn't anticipate that, but that's all right. I'm going to make a delay variable. I don't want to use the word delay up here because that'll confuse my program. I want to use a different word. So how about delay time? That's not all right. We could do delay time for high and delay time for low and control it from up here. But that's a lot of words to type in. Delay time high. What the heck? I can type pretty fast. Delay time high, and let's do 1 second for now. So let's go back here. Delay and delay. Delay time high. There's probably more potential for error the longer I make my variable name. But on the other hand, I'll know what it means. It's a little trade-off there. Digital write blue. Nope, green. Let's do green next. Turn that one on. Ooh, oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. So what's wrong? Pause. If I throw in green right now, what's going to happen? I still got red on. So let's turn red off first. Let's turn red off first. Delay. Keep doing that. D-E-A-L-Y. My fingers are going fast and they're hitting same pattern. And I didn't find that up here, so let's go and do that. Delay, time, low. And let's do that half a second. So delay, time, low. All right, looks good. All right, so we turned it off. Now we want to do the same thing for the green and the blue. So it's going to look exactly the same as this. So I'm just going to copy and paste. You're more than welcome to type that in, but I'm going to accelerate this a little bit. I got to make sure I switch these out to green. Green, blue, and blue. That looks good. A little recap here. So I've declared some variables up here. I got 5 of them, and they're all integers, and I've given them unique names. There's nothing fancy about these names. These are names for me. And the nice thing about these, if I make an error or I want to change things, I can change it up here, and it changes it down here automatically. It's like a little bit of control over my variables up here. Pin modes. If I recall, technically I don't think we even need this for. No, we do need it for this. We don't need it for analog writes. But we'll get into that later. Getting ahead of myself. So we're telling each pin to expect. We're going to send some voltage out of them. And here's the pattern that we're going to keep looping through over and over and over again. We're going to turn the red on, then back off, turn the green on, then back off, and turn the blue on, and then back off. So it's almost as if we had 3 different LEDs. It's like we have 3 of these all combined into one, the circuit we just built. But we're going to find out that these RGB LEDs, they can do a little more than just these 3 colors. We'll get into that later. All right, let's give it a try. Now, before we start things, of course, we got to make sure we got the right board. This is already selected, the right one. Even I even plugged it in. So let me get ahead of myself again. Getting all excited here. All right, put that in the computer. And all right, so I also need the port, and it's port 18 is the one it wants to use. Let's remember, this checks my code and looks it over. Everything looks great. This checks it and uploads it to the Arduino. So let's go ahead and do that. Upload successful. So let's take a look. I'll show you what I got. Let me switch to the camera only. And I'll show you what mine's doing, if you can see it all right. And it's hard to see. You gotta take my word for it, I guess. We're blue, and it's going red, green. But you can't tell very well. If I did something like that behind it, that'd help. It doesn't matter. Kind of see the red one all right, but the others you can't tell. You have to just trust me. Build it yourself and verify this for yourself. I'd also recommend that you change these delay times. Toy around with that for a bit. I would also recommend, if you're looking for something else to try, and we're going to go into this, these RGB, one of the cool things about it is we can combine colors. So experiment with perhaps keeping the red on and then having the, while this one's on, have the green one go on. And then you just combine the red and the green and see what happens, or the green and blue or something like that, and see what happens. Okay, and I'll let you figure out the code for that on your own. So when you get back to class, I want you to, with a new procedure, is you'll open up your kit, and right in there will be your build, your homework build. You'll pull it out, you'll plug in your battery, and then I'll walk by and I'll see that red, green, and blue, and I'll go, ooh, look at that. Okay, and I'll mark you off on my seating chart that you've completed the homework. Okay, so good luck with this. Have a good time with it, and we'll just keep getting slightly more complicated as we go. And enjoy.